Good morning, I'm Jeff. I'm a sewer tech Northwest. Today we're at property address 204 South Meridian Street here in Newburgh. We're located at the front of the units here currently. I think there's about at least 3 cleanouts here we're going to check out. These two definitely appear to be sewer. We've got two 4-inch ABS cleanouts side by side here, kind of in this little courtyard spot out in front of the 1, 2, and 3 units here. We're going to check the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. We currently have water running in Unit 1. And we're going to be scoping these things out to the street as well as back into the buildings as far as we can go. Here we go. And right off the bat here, we do have some standing water in the pipe. You can see that's a Y connection there. I believe that's where this other cleanout I showed connects into it. And it might be that we just have a bunch of junk sitting in here in the pipe. Looks like someone put some paper towels down the line. Hey, we're going to do a toilet flush here in Unit 1. Alright, the cleanout we currently went into here is tied in directly with that one, it appears. I think they've got these lines split between the two kind of halves of the building. It transitions here over to 4-inch 3034 PVC pipe. That looks like the secondary cleanout that's usually for the city, and they're somewhere around the sidewalk area generally. This might actually be the main connection right here. It looks like, we'll take another look, but it looks like that's actually an opening there on the left, not just a turn. So I'm going to go locate to verify where the camera head's at. Alright, locate the camera head here. It's going out the driveway that heads out to South Meridian Street. We're just beyond the driveway out in the street there where that looks like a Y connection's at, so I think we have to go a little further here and we'll be at the main. In Newburgh, once you've hit the right-of-way, which is generally at the sidewalk area, city is responsible for everything from that point out. And here at 78 feet, we have reached the main. Alright, we do have actively lived-in units here, so I'm doing my best here to reel back when it's totally drained out. That it is just about is at this point here, but we've got a lot of people living in here, so we're probably going to have some water running pretty much all the time. Alright, as best I can tell, we are completely drained out at this point right now. So it looks like we do have some standing water in the line here. It looks like the little belly there ends at about 20 feet out. We'll try and take a look at this here. In general, my rule of thumb with bellies and when to repair them is when you get to at least 5 feet of pipe with at least an inch of standing water. That is where I typically start to see regular old toilet paper start to collect in the line, not just paper towels and stuff like that. So far, that little belly there is not worth repairing. It is teeny tiny. There's only about not even a quarter of an inch of water there. It's about a 1/16 of an inch, which is nothing concerning. And we're back, just about back to the clean. As you can see here, we did knock a bunch of debris out of the way at first. We still got a fair amount sitting here, and I'm not exactly sure why. We'll try and clear this junk out, and we'll keep an eye on that spot. We are amongst a bunch of rose bushes. Sometimes you can get roots coming through, but I think we just had a bunch of junk pack up here in the spot. That was really the issue. And we'll revisit this spot here when we do a few toilet flushes to remove some junk from the pipe. We're getting stuff collecting here for one reason or another, though, and that is having a hard time breaking loose. You can see here how much I'm running my camera back and forth through here. This is a newer line. Sometimes you can get excess pipe glue at the joint that will cause this stuff to collect here. But I mean, my camera is beating this stuff up here and it's still staying put. Now these right here we're looking at look like paper towels or wipes. These should not be going down the line to begin with. But my concern here is whatever is going on, it's causing stuff to collect at that particular spot there. And there's a toilet flush going past. And the amount of stuff that built up here when I first came through, I shoved a pretty large wad of debris out of the way. So it looks like we got all the debris out of the way for the time being. It's still drained out a little bit. You can see we've got a little stringy, strandy thing if you look right in the flow line there leading up to that little piece of paper.
Yeah, I'm going to take a quick look.
We might actually have possibly a root that's come through there. It's really hard to tell. So far, that's the only thing I can see in there that resembles a root intrusion coming through. Sometimes you can have plastic burrs from when the pipe was cut. That it was kind of a rough cut, and you'll end up with little plastic bits. At this point, with what we have to look at there, I cannot confirm whether we've got roots here or not. We do have rose bushes parked pretty much right on top of the sewer line, which I don't recommend. Even with newer plastic pipe like this, rose bushes are actually quite strong and can penetrate newer sewer pipes. I see it a lot, actually, because they're often when the line's at its shallowest, too. At this point here, this is looking more like we may have little plastic bits in the pipe. That one little black strand there, that dark color is not really indicative of roots. Usually they're brown or tan or kind of a clear color. So what I would recommend is running an auger or jetter through here to smooth this joint out, hopefully. You can see how minimal this actually looks, but how much junk actually built up in that particular spot. It doesn't take much for toilet, or definitely like paper towels and stuff to collect in the line. But anyway, at this point, this could be a root. it might just be plastic. There's just not enough here to get a good look at it, unfortunately. So I am gonna get this marked just for reference as to where it's at. I think right now, with not being able to confirm whether it's roots or not, I would run a jetter or auger through there, talk to the drain clean guy, see which is best, to see how best you can smooth out this joint here. And I would rescope it in about a year to make sure you don't have roots growing back into here. At this point, you just really can't confirm them. There's not enough to look at. Okay, and we're only about a foot away from the clean out here, and we're at 1 foot 4 inches deep. Very shallow, very easy to get to. For that reason, I don't recommend just, I mean, you could do it either way. It's an easy hole to dig to get down to it. At this point, without being able to confirm roots, I would recommend just trying to smooth that joint out with an auger or a jetter or something like that. And then I would rescope it in 6 months to a year to see if anything has grown back. That's the only way you're going to be able to confirm this, short of just digging down to it. So it's shallow enough you could go either route, but I think the auger would probably be the way to go for right now. Aside from that, the rest of the pipe we just scoped there is in good condition, has good flow, and is functioning properly at this time. We're now going to reverse direction from this same clean out here and scope back into the units. And again, this particular clean out here is servicing, it looks like units 1, 2, and 3. We do have some standing water there. Nothing too crazy, but we'll take a better look at this on the way out when it's fully drained and we're reeling backwards. Okay, now we're in cast iron pipe. This is the original pipe for the building. And if you could get the tenants to not be putting paper towels and stuff like that down the line, more than likely that little rough spot in the joint there, as long as it's not roots, probably won't do a whole lot. But when you get stuff like that going down the pipe, you're never going to be able to stop it from happening. Now this appears to be the back of the line here. You can see if we're back here, it's going to go straight up in the air, probably to a vent or the stack. But right at the base of it, we've got that opening there, which appears, when you come right up to it, it looks like an auxiliary drain, as best I can tell there. But it looks like pipe does continue back that direction, so it doesn't appear to be any damage or anything like that. We also can't get the camera back into there. So I'm going to locate just to see where we're at here currently. That appears to be an auxiliary drain there. It is located there, and it's right between the bathroom in Unit 1 and kind of the stairwell area. Anyway, all this cast iron pipe here is looking good. We do have water flowing again here.
Right, right.
Okay, this is a spot here where we have a little bit of standing water. We have water flowing currently. That's why I'm stopping every so often here to get a better idea of what we're working with. So right here with a sink actively flowing, that water level there is sitting right at about 1 inch of standing water. I'll do my best to measure the length of this thing here. Looks like it starts to dissipate out. Or essentially it starts here at about 8.5 feet. and pops out there. It's about 4 feet long, roughly. And you can see we still have water actively flowing through the line here, so that's kind of exaggerating what this looks like. With it all drained out, we're sitting more at about 1/2 of an inch of water there for about 4 feet. So this spot right here is located right outside the doorway to unit number 2, and it extends so that the belly kind of extends back into there, essentially a few feet. My guess is it was probably a very tight, difficult spot to retrofit a line into it. That's more than likely the reason why we've got standing water here. But when it's all drained out, and it looks like it's drained out at this point, there's still a little flowing through. It's sitting right at about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch. Now, in my opinion, that is not worth tearing the concrete up to fix. Ideally, it's not there, but you can see how we have almost no debris there at all. It's just not a significant spot. You have to be flushing some pretty big stuff down the pipe for that to start making much of a difference there. And then we've got a little bit more standing water here as well. Again, very minimal. This starts at about 1 foot from the clean out. And the water level here is sitting about 1/4 of an inch for the most part. Again, very minimal spot there. Not something that's all that concerning at all. I don't recommend any repairs on that stuff. Now we're going to reel out here. Again, the one thing I do recommend is running an auger through the pipe. The only spot where I've seen any debris buildup was right here, just in front of the clean out, about 1 foot in, right where the Y connection's at, where these two clean outs come together. There, it looks like we've got excess glue there, or rough burrs from when the pipe was cut. That, or possibly we have the start of a root intrusion. It's at this point everything's too small to confirm one way or the other. What I recommend is running an auger through there to try and cut some of that plastic junk out, or whatever it is that's causing stuff to hang up in the pipe, to try and smooth the joint out, and then I would rescope it in a year to see if anything has changed, grown back. At this point we can't tell if it's roots or plastic, but it's looking more like plastic to me than anything, just based on the color and the shape of what's there. Now we're going to move to the other clean out here and start scoping. And you can see this is the Y connection. It was right here where we had the debris hanging up. And that joint looks like it may have been rough cut. You can see it's kind of a jaggedy edge there, so more than likely drain cleaning is going to do the job. We're going to go ahead and just reverse direction everything from that Y connection out. We have already done scoping on. We're now heading back towards the units here. We've got a fair amount of junk sitting here in the pipe, so we'll have to take a look at this on the way out. And it looks like this pipe was almost put together with a fern coat here, as best as I can tell, rather than a turn in the line. I'm going to clean the lens off here real quick and show this. You can get a better view now. You can see that pipe sort of stubbed into there. I'm going to actually refer this off to a plumber and have them look at it to make sure that that is okay to have that way. It might be purely because of the angle you had to put them together. They may not have had a fitting that would give you the proper angle to make that turn. So I'll have the plumber review that and make sure that's something that can actually exist that way. Right now it looks like we're starting to go vertical here, up a stack, so we're going to locate and see where this is at exactly. You're about to flush the toilet in Unit 8. Okay, so we just flushed in Unit 8. I'm not getting any flush coming through. So it actually appears that there is a third line somewhere. At least another, third, maybe possibly even a fourth for all I know right now.
So, obviously.
Okay, again, this is that spot I'm going to send out to be reviewed to make sure that this is okay. It looks like it's tight. My guess is there's a fern coat around it. Just want to make sure that that is kosher to have that way. And this is on the exterior of the building. You can follow the concrete patch as it goes back towards the laundry room. It's right, there's a 45-degree turn as it kind of goes between the courtyard of the building here. And we've got one spot we really need to get checked out here. Within that first 4 or 5 feet, my camera went through a whole bunch of stuff. Make sure that that's cleared out at this point and doesn't have any underlying issues going on. Okay, so my camera is back here now, and this is just thick sewer sludge. And again, we're seeing more paper towels in the line, and this is what makes it hard. Right now I can't even gauge what exactly we've got going on here, because what my camera is going through right now is just thick sewage. It's not cleared out water or anything like that. So I would recommend having this cleaned out as well, and then have the drain clean guys run their camera back in here to see if we've got some kind of belly going on here, because right now I'm just pushing tons of toilet paper. I mean, this isn't even toilet paper, this is paper towel or a wipe here. Now, right now I can't assess whether we've got a belly here or not. My assumption is that we probably do. There's just so much junk in the line I can't confirm if it's a belly or how bad it even is. Okay, we're going to do some toilet flushes for unit number 4. It appears that unit 8 is not connected into either of these lines here. And we're going to do a flush with number 4. That's another upstairs unit. I think there's another, probably 1 or 2 lines for this building. Okay, just had a flush there. Okay, so that came through the very first clean out here. The unit 4 is attached in to that very first clean out we scoped through right off the bat. Okay, we're now going to flush a toilet in unit number 5. Having no flush tones come through, and I heard the toilet flush from the front door. So it appears that Unit 5 is not hooked into either of these lines here. Alrighty, we're going to go ahead and reel the camera out. We're going to move to a clean out at the kind of back side of the building. There's an old cast iron one back there. Check that out. So far, what it looks like is these two lines we've scoped here are servicing units 1 through 4, and more than likely whatever unit is down below 4. That may be number 5, but there's kind of, it looks like the building's kind of split in half with how the sewer line's set up here. There's a big concrete patch that goes between, kind of in the little courtyard of the building, and essentially if you go on either side of that thing, you've got two different lines, I think, for each side of the building. But anyway, at this point, I would recommend a drain cleaning, one to try and remove whatever plastic bits or whatever it is about a foot out from that first clean out here, and then from the second clean out, these are both right next to each other. I recommend jetting backwards to remove all the debris and slurry and that junk that collected there in the pipe, and then re-scoping it to make sure that there's no underlying issues or significant underlying issues. You might have a little tiny belly there, you know, that's a few feet long with a 1/4 inch of water. That's not the stuff I'm talking about. I just want to make sure there's nothing more significant underlying there. And then I'm going to refer the video off to a plumber to have it reviewed for that joint at about 19 feet to make sure that that is okay to have that way, and not use a an actual fitting or turn piece of pipe. Aside from those issues, though, the rest of the pipe we scoped is in good shape, and it is currently functioning at this time. We've removed enough of that debris there that it is flowing. No, nothing I'm really concerned about there. Everything's looking pretty good. All right, we're on the back side over here. This is okay. Okay, on the back side of the units here, we're basically on the back side of Unit 7. That's where we just ran water from. This is a clean out. It looks like it's been, to a certain extent, converted over to be a downspout. I would recommend not doing that. You can check city ordinances. Most towns don't even want you doing this type of stuff anymore. But this is the sewer clean out here. It's 4-inch cast iron. You know, this is the line that we were thinking hooked into everything else. So Unit 7 dumps directly into this right at the clean out. And I've already test run this a little bit here. We'll have a couple other lines come connecting into it. Well, there's another branch coming in. That's for probably another couple units. And we just transitioned there over to concrete pipe. And the concrete pipe here is in rough shape. We got a lot of aggregate showing through here, but it looks like we have a. It's really hard to tell if that's a crack or a joint. We'll take a look at that again on the way out. It looks like we have some small root hairs coming through here at about 10 feet. You can see on the right side of the screen. They're small at this point, but in fact, those might actually be coming right through the sidewall of the pipe here. The pipe is so worn here. There's so much aggregate showing through. It's really hard to discern where the joints are at. We've got some more root hairs coming through here. And there's enough aggregate showing through on this line that it's probably punching straight through the sidewall of the pipe. And we've got another connection coming in here. So this looks like all the other units are dumping into this particular line here. And given the roughness of this, it's pretty much ready for an update. We've got a lot of aggregate showing. The pipe's in about eggshell condition at this point. We've got roots coming in. More roots here at 32 feet. Roots here. Roots at 49 feet. Alright, and And that there appears to be the main lateral connection. So as best I can tell here, I'm going to go locate to verify where the terminus is at, but it appears that there's two entirely separate lines for each half of the building. Okay, so I located the camera head here. We're not actually at the street yet. It almost looks like the line may have turned and gone underneath the building. I'm going to try and locate and verify that. But right now, we're right over by, it almost looks like what used to be the office or something. There's like a ramp that goes up to the doorway there. I'm just going to try and locate to see if this does in fact go into the building, because if it does, a bunch of this I can't even locate. Alright, it is looking like the line does actually, it kind of parallels the I don't know what to call this, the back of the side. I guess if you're standing in Meridian Street, this would be the kind of the right side of the building here. And from this point here, we'll see if the camera will... Alright, we're in clay pipe now. And now we're into 3034 PVC. We're going to shove this thing until it gets out into the roadway here. It's a very convoluted line. Difficult. That last turn at the clay pipe transition is kind of tough to shove past. Okay, and this might be where the two lines end up meeting back together. Alright, this is right where we located the camera head originally from the first set of cleanouts. This is where I thought we had hit the main at first. This is just merely a Y connection here where the two lines converge together. So everything from this point out we've already scoped. I'm going to map the line out as best I can. Again, there's a portion of it that does run underneath the building. So that you'll have to, repair guys will just have to track it down. I'll map all of it on either side of that. And I would start the repair, or at least end it right here. There's no reason at this point to leave any original pipe in the ground with as much needs to be done on this one. It's a total waste of money and time, because at some point the rest of it will go, and you already have a fair amount of work on your hands here at this point. So I would recommend just taking it all the way to here. So I'll get this located, I'll mark with a white X, and I'll put some lines and dots in between, just showing the direction the pipe's going. Alright, where it's at right now is basically smack dab under a rose bush. Alright, we just did a marking here. I did a nice turn on the ground there with the paint to show the pipe making the turn going back into the building. From basically this point here, it goes underneath the crawl space. That's mapped out. I'll get the unit number here in just a second when I go back over there. It's the unit that has a big ramp leading up to the front door. It's closest to the street. Yeah, most of this pipe here is... Yeah, we've got even root intrusions inside the crawl space there. That's what that is. And you could look into doing a pipeliner on this thing. Going through it here, it actually drains out quite nicely. There's there's very minor amounts of standing water, at least thus far. We'll see how the rest of it looks here. But I would look into the possibility of doing that type of repair here, unless we see a whole bunch of standing water. And given the fact where this thing runs, it would make it a whole lot easier if you didn't have to dig it up. And so far, it's actually draining out pretty nicely. And I'm not concerned about this kind of stuff being left over. Having a 32nd of an inch or less of water in the line is definitely not a reason to spend much more money and dig it all up. If you can do a liner on it, I would look into the prospect of doing that. All right, I've got an arrow there showing where the pipe runs and then turns into the house here, back into the crawl space area. About 2 feet deep there. That depth's going to be off by a little bit as it's so stinking close to the foundation wall that I can't get the locate right on top of it there. All right, about 1 foot 7 inches deep here. You know, I haven't counted all the root intrusions here, but our last root is way the heck out at about 50 feet out. It goes all the way up to almost the end of the original pipe. There's probably at least 6 to 8 root intrusions throughout the whole line. Just that and also with the very rough condition the concrete's in, I'd recommend a full replacement of this line, essentially from the cast iron out to where it transitions over to 3034 PVC pipe. And this is an example of how worn this pipe is here. There's actually a hole that's opened up right there. The concrete's just that thinned out. I'll reel back here. My last marking is going to be right at the, I think we just went past there, the cast iron transition. Yeah, which is here at about 7 feet. The cast iron's still in pretty good shape. And you're generally okay to leave this stuff in the ground here. If you want to go the full route to fully updating it, it's not a bad idea because, again, although it's good pipe, it too has a lifespan. So I would consider just fully replacing everything on the exterior and not leaving any of the cast iron. But from this point at 8 feet out to 61 feet is the stuff that needs to be done. Alright, I put a white T marking here indicating the transition point. Again, we're here on the left side of the building. I believe if you're standing out on Meridian Street, this would be the right side of the building, essentially. Now, we've got some other stuff going on with the other half of the building. Some drain cleaning that needs to be done and a little rescoping. Make sure there's nothing major going on there. For the most part, the line just needs to be drain cleaned and augured, or jetted and augured to clean some debris out of it. And looks like likely some plastic burrs on a pipe joint that's catching a bunch of debris coming down the line. Anyway, here's our clean out. Line shoots up the side of the building here, right where that pop out is at. That's where the line turns and goes underneath the building and goes out the other side. You know, again, from 8 feet, at minimum from 8 feet to 61 feet, I recommend a full update. And all said and done, the line actually drains out quite nicely. So you could look into the potential of doing a pipeliner. The nice part about this one is it's a very shallow sewer line. Back here at the cast iron transition, at the start of the repair, it's only 1 foot deep, or 11 inches. It's right on the dot there. And then by the time you get out the other side at 61 feet, we're only about 3 feet 4 inches deep. So not a terribly deep line to dig up. When you get on the other side of the house, though, over by the ramp where the line pops out the other side of the building, the line is riding so close to there's a little kind of, I don't know if it's rock or cinder block or what it is, but kind of creating a planter box there. You'll see those paint markings. The line rides so close to that. I can't tell if it does partially reside under concrete or if it's all just within the dirt there. So just use a little caution when digging around over there. I recommend a rescope after any repair work is done to make sure it was done correctly.